Good morning, Danny Cobbin, 1 Live. I have Alterability here today. We will be talking to him in just a moment. But for now, I just want to tell you guys just a little bit about what we're going to talk about today, and that's life. We're going to talk a little bit about life. We're going to talk a little bit about what life means, not just for me, but how we can work that out between us guys. About to put Jason in here in just a second. Good morning, Jason. How are you?
Hey, Danny.
You
What's up,
doing
man?
well, man?
What'd you say?
How are you doing this morning?
Pretty good. Pretty good. I got my philosopher's tee and my tank top rocking. I didn't have time to grow a mullet. I tried to do that, didn't work out. But
What is your philosopher's tea? What is that just?
well, I did order some philosopher T-shirts, but this is just green tea.
Oh, I just you can name it whatever you want.
Yeah, I mean, it makes you smarter. So if you're having a philosophical discussion and you have tea, it automatically enhances.
Oh, so maybe I need to start getting me a little tea out here every morning before I get started. So, Jason, I put in the bio a little bit about the fact that you've been on a journey your whole life and just looking for happiness and joy and those different things. And we talked about a couple days ago the fact that you said that that journey is now not complete, but would you like to tell them a little bit about that?
Well, uh, one of those childhoods that I wouldn't want to relive. I am grateful for it because the suffering that I experienced led me to search for happiness. Look for like what is true rather than just coasting through life, um, which also would be okay, right? I mean, just chilling, enjoying life, but for about 20 years, I've been reading self help books and how can I improve myself? How can I be worthy? Um, I got bullied in school, mostly due to what looked true to me, right? As being annoying and trying to pick on other kids and different things like that, right? So, who wants to be friends with somebody like that? So, yeah, I mean, in probably March 2019, I came across a book by Michael Neal, The Inside Out Revolution, and I realized I was creating all of this myself. And it was all internal. I was always looking for what's wrong, what's negative. And yeah, if you just look around and see nothing but bad things, there's a lot of work to do to fix those things.
Man, so back in your younger days, bullied, picked on, things like that, and it took you down a pathway of trying to find something that filled you up, filled the cup up almost, if you would say. And I know what you're talking about a little bit with the Inside Out Revolution and the book, and then taking that journey because I've been a little bit on that journey. Could you tell them a little bit about what you saw in the book and what 2019 meant for you?
Yeah. So I think it probably was a lot in the entire book, but I think the biggest thing that stood out to me was you are always mentally healthy, perfect, whole, and you always have the ability to convince yourself otherwise. So like, and what that says to me is we're always on solid ground. We're always okay, right? Oh, my friend did this to me, and now my girlfriend left me this and that, right? It's like, yes, it doesn't feel good, right? Because that's what we've taught, that these feelings are bad and let's not feel bad, let's feel happy. But when you really look at it and see like, oh damn, I'm pissed off right now. You're on concrete. You're not on a rocky little raft that you're going to dump over at any second. You're on solid ground, so you're always okay.
Mhm.
But we don't see that. It's an illusion that my life is crap, you know?
Yeah. So when was the first time that you saw the illusion that, hey, you saw through the illusion, hey, my life is crap, and you saw maybe something a little bit more? Can you remember that first time?
Like a specific example.
Yeah.
Well, one example, I don't know if this fits here, but is believing that my wife needs to also be on the self improvement path. In this whole journey that I've been on, I kind of circled around and came back right to where she was, which is just like a more pure enjoyment of life. but I believed it looked so true that she needed to work on herself and set tasks and set reminders and meditate for 5 minutes a day and and it was all just a belief.
Man, what you're saying, I kind of sort of when I went to Super Coach Academy, I found it a little bit later than you did, but we did go to Super Coach Academy together. We did study underneath Michael Neal to learn more about the inside out understanding. And this is kind of one of the things that I found, kind of like what you're saying, is when I stopped worrying about what somebody else was doing, specifically my wife, my children, like in a bubble of some sort. But when I stopped worrying about that, it was almost like, oh, huh, I can do what I want to do. And then like she's been here, like this is kind of what you've been saying, and you went on this like oh la 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 la, just to go back to oh, huh, dang, she was in the right spot all along.
Yeah, just like a pure enjoyment of life, just like a laid back, never really going around telling people what they need to be doing. I mean, that was kind of a big thing for me.
So,
Funny. Well, yeah, I was going to say that the funny thing about it is believing that she needed to self improvement, do all that stuff because I was. It's like I have a set of thinking that looks true to me because of where I grew up, the kids I was around, the state I live in. You have your set. And because I have all that thinking that looks true, it makes sense to pick up a Tony Robbins or a How to Win Friends and Influence People. But for somebody else, they have different thinking. It just doesn't look true. So, yes, they can be forced into doing it, but they don't believe it. They don't believe they need to do that.
oh, that gets interesting, right? Like when I'm thinking about me, I'm not worried about them. But before we get to all that, I one more question for you. Um, is what you're saying? It's almost like how to put this, is it almost like a movie? Is that like you went out on a journey or whatever through this adventure, and you're thinking, hey, this person needs to go on their own adventure and take her along, and for some reason I'm envisioning you on this journey, and then the end journey was like kind of like Lord of the Rings, if you ever watched that, or I mean almost like the Matrix, really, like the journey was back to where you are.
Yeah, back to the source. That's exactly right. It
I know.
is. Yeah, you go out on your journey. There's a lot of like Bible parables and stuff. The prodigal son maybe is one of them. I'm not all that familiar with it, but you go out, you look for happiness, you look for peace, you look to try to solve your problems, only to find that you already are what you seek.
Hmm. Yeah. Everything that I've heard it say, everything that you need is inside of you right now. And oh, that just brought up the definition of character. I was listening to Jim Rohn the other day, and he was talking about charisma versus character. And he was like, I wanted to get a good understanding of what character was. And they talk about character as something like chiseling away is essentially what character is. And I found as a coach, as a just a human being, that chiseling away process are those trials and things that we go through. And is that something that you're seeing occur, and how has that affected you since Super Coach Academy, now that we're getting into the present day and some of the things that you're looking at now?
Yeah, it does. You're right. It seems like self improvement is not an adding; it's a subtracting. It's like, oh damn, why does this look true? It's like, oh, I got to work hard. I got to work hard, right? So my individual situation, we're pretty frugal people. We do kind of fit into the. If you've ever read the book The Millionaire Next Door, he talks about how like it's not the glam lifestyle, right? So I don't know. We're pretty frugal people. But an analogy I used recently was like, I'm working so hard to collect 40 pieces of wood. Yet I'm living a life that I love and enjoy and a comfortable life on 7 pieces of wood. Before, it looked so true to me that I needed to be successful, have a big house, have the flashy cars and build this big business. Like that was the whole point of life, right? It's like you start as a baby and you build it and then look back at your life, look at what I've done, and that just doesn't look true to me anymore.
Now that it's no longer looking true to you, what is possible in your life? What have you seen from the standpoint of all this?
I would say in relation to that,
Yeah.
so so much less anxiety, right? So if I feel like I need to keep these plates spinning, you know that game where you smack the balloon and maybe you have a couple people, but you can't let the balloon touch the floor,
Yes.
and you're jumping over stuff, cracking your cracking your ankle. It's kind of like that. Like if it looks so real to me that my identity is my business, and if my business goes down, well, who even am I now? Like I need to keep this going at all costs. Like I shouldn't be taking time to watch a movie with my family because there's work to be done. And now the place that I'm in it is that rock solid ground, right? And I know that even if my businesses just collapse, I don't want that to happen. I'm going to do what I can. It's kind of like COVID. I'm going to wear my mask where I need to. I'm going to take the precautions. But if I get it, I mean, now I get to have the experience of getting it. So with work, I get to show up now and just do what occurs to me to do and just do something that I enjoy versus the parts of work maybe that I didn't enjoy, but I felt like I had to because I got to keep this business going.
So COVID happened, and instead of you doubling down on the things that were going on in your business, you found a way to lighten things up a little bit. Is that what I'm hearing?
I think it was mostly mental, because I knew I was okay, even if things didn't work out. And if this happened a couple of years ago, man, I would have been freaking out. Like, what if the tenants don't pay rent? What if this happens? What if that happens? It's just a place of peace, man. It's pretty crazy. I'm sure you've experienced similar similar things along the way.
Well, yes and no, man. Like, so I'm on this journey right now, and honestly, the journey is, hey, I want to bring value to people out there in the world, and I'm like, okay, so how do I do that? And 3 years ago, I wanted to start a podcast, and I didn't do it. I wanted to start a YouTube, didn't do it, and something during COVID said, I mean, when better to start than now? And then what's happened is I've slowly started to build these different things. And what I mean is, like we talked about character earlier, some things are falling away. Like, what is something specifically that's falling away from me? Like you said about your wife. Like, I don't feel like she needs to go on a personal development journey so that she could get to where she's already at. I believe that she started to look at my life and see the things that I've been doing. And I'm like, huh. Because she started asking Danny, like, I'm noticing this is different. Danny, like, I'm seeing that's different. And that's what's been beneficial. But when it comes to this journey of the YouTube, like, for instance, this a couple weeks ago, I was so deep in my head about what to do, how to do it, and all this other stuff. And between talking to you and some other people, what ended up happening is I realized that it was all in my head, every bit of it.
Yeah.
And then when I dropped out of that thinking in my head, I just got on camera and was like, oh, like, not who cares, because I spend lots and lots of time preparing and developing for you guys. But who cares about all that other stuff when I'm here? I'm just going to be present with Jason when Jason's here. I'm going to be present with myself if it's just me. That's what I'm experiencing more and more. Is that kind of sort of what you were asking?
Yeah. Just the benefits and a couple of things and it sounds like what you're saying is there's no pressure now. Whereas before it's like, I should know this. How come I don't know this? How come I haven't figured it out yet? And now it's like, I just don't know yet. And that's it, period, right? It's not a comma. Like, I should know. Oh, I'm so sucky at this. How come I see other people and they're doing these things? I don't do these things.
Yeah, every day. Like, my challenge has been, can I do something today better than yesterday? Can I be just like, it doesn't have to be much. Maybe that much better than yesterday. And that's really been and pushing me along in the parenting journey, in my life journey, and my friendship journey, just all around. I'm not trying to be better than Tony Robbins or Michael Neal or Jason or anybody. And that's what I used to do. I used to really, really, really want to be, oh, like, this guy's got this, and I want to be like that. And social media kind of does that to us a little bit. Social media says, hey, look at this idea of perfect. And then you're like, well, why would I want okay if perfect is there?
Yeah.
And that's just been a journey just to back home.
So let me
And I
ask you. Sorry, I cut you off.
no, go ahead, ask.
What if we don't need to try to get better, a little bit better every day? What if that is just how it works already?
What if that's how it works already? Well, that is how it works already. I mean, I don't wake up the next day and say, "Hey, I'm gonna beat my kids today." Uh, that doesn't seem like something I would do, but that's the thing, right? Like that's what we think. Like, help me. Let's talk this out just for a second. So in my head, I'm thinking I have to get better every day. So what happens if I don't think that? Am I gonna just stop moving forward?
Maybe. And that is a good question. And I'm thinking of the quote, well, two. One is like, what doesn't kill me gives me XP, right? It gives me experience. So just by doing things, just by having conversations, just by living life, we now know a little bit more, right? We get stronger. We got another one of those little like discs, the cassettes that got loaded up in the Matrix. Like, damn, I know Kung Fu.
Mm.
So this quote says, every experience we go through, every impression we take in molds our future thoughts and actions. But I think what you're saying is right. Like, there are people who are like, damn, what happened to you? You used to be a really cool kid, man. You're like so wholesome. You came up from a wholesome, and now you just murdered these 25 people. Like, how come what? So
How
you
come?
almost need like, I don't know. Do you need a spiritual guide? Do you need I think you just need to see truth and everything else takes care of itself.
Hmm.
I don't know.
One of my homeboys, Chaz, he talks to me a lot about like the now. And me and you, I think, talked about this the other day. Now being more than just right here, right now, but being a collection of a lot of those other things coming in to now. And so the way I'm seeing it is, of course, tomorrow, in some way, there's something that I'm going to want to move forward on. Let's just put it that way. For instance, kids, like every day, it's a consistent. How do I put their day together so that they can learn and grow as much as possible? Yesterday was a good day. The day before that wasn't as good of a day, right? So today I'm waking up and I'm not going, ooh, I got to make today better than yesterday or else it's going to be trash. I'm just living today in the moment. And all of that experience is kind of sort of coming through.
Yeah. So the day that was shitty, like now when okay, so let's say day one shitty, day two good today, right? So like day one, you realize that when the Cheerios in the milk, right? They smack it and the bowl goes everywhere. So now you know that you got to do something different with the Cheerios, and you just do it. It's just a doing because now you have more experience in that area. So it doesn't really make sense to give them a tall glass with milk that they can easily knock over.
Man, that makes so much sense because we have had that exact issue where my daughter, if they want to drink from a big cup now. Like they see you drinking from a big cup, they want to drink from a big cup. So she goes like this. She goes, cup. I'm like, oh yeah. She drinks some and then she goes, puts her hand right in the cup. And you're like, don't know if I want your hand in my cup. So now I kind of sort of know what she looks like when she's about to stick her hand in the cup. So like I'll give her water and then I'll take it real quick. And she'll be like, And so now it's, I don't want to say a game, but a little bit of a game that the only reason why we're playing is because I've been present in the now in this moment with her enough that I can see the way she's interacting with me. And that's how I love that about life.
Yeah.
That's it, right? The day that today is doesn't have to be better than yesterday because today is just today. And there's no way that today could be yesterday.
Yeah. And you're
And
stuck on something today, and at some point you won't be stuck on that thing. Just knowing that I will figure this out. And actually, so I do a little bit of programming for one of our businesses, and sometimes I'll get stuck on something like, God, I cannot figure this out. And then it occurs to me, I started looking into programming in 2007, so I've been doing it for a while. And it's like I have never gotten stuck permanently on one problem. And it's the same with people's lives. Like you're not still stuck in that thing about how to figure out something about your girlfriend's going to break up with you. Like you figured it out. We have trouble. It seems like this is the end. My life's over. But it works. It already works itself out.
it already works itself out. Jason, I've loved having you today. I would ask if there is one last piece of anything that you would like to share with them. I mean, that last piece was great, but I didn't know if you had anything else for them.
Yeah, I think what looks to me like an important thing to mention is this looks like a whole bunch of just magical unicorn nonsense, right? And obviously, we can't give you the entire picture, the entire understanding in 20 minutes or whatever it is. But just know that freedom is possible, right?
Yeah.
I think living in a happy state for the rest of your life, that's not how humans work. That's not going to happen. You're going to have experience of getting upset, of things happening that you really didn't want to happen. But it doesn't have to be a problem. You can have you can just have the experience of being pissed off. Like, oh damn, I'm pissed off right now. And then you're not attached to it. It doesn't look like a problem that you're grabbing onto it. So it flows through, it goes away, and you're enjoying the next experience.
Man, that's a big distinction. The distinction between freedom and living every day happily and in the state of ecstasy, which I agree. I don't think that that's possible. If you like the content today, please subscribe, hit the notification bell, follow Jason on Instagram. I have that below, alterability.co. Also, we are doing this every Monday through Friday, 7:30 a.m. Central Time. And here's what's crazy. Like Jason said, this is a lot to take in. So this is a conversation we're going to continue to have week after week after week. So if this is something you're interested in, come in, bring your friends, share this content, and we'll see y'all soon. So remember, be more you, and we'll grow stronger together.
Thanks, Danny.
Later.